If you're inspo tanks, and make no mistake, you've come to the right place. Just give to Neil the time to straight up blow your mind with a new show of drawing a blank.
Hey everyone, I hope you've had a great week. Today is going to be a bit more discussion heavy than art focused. Let's talk about these darn battle cats once again, because I see a lot of discourse going on about this couple in particular, and I think it's time to talk about it. And by talk, I mean I'm going to be drawing cute fan art cuddles and giving my 2 cents on the topic. So a little context on the pairing in question for those of you not up to date on the current books. IvyPool and Fernsong are a canonical couple in Warriors as of Vision of Shadows. They've since had kits together, and one of those kits is one of our lead protagonists in The Broken Code, Bristlefrost. Overall, the books have shown this to be a very loving and supporting couple, giving IvyPool and Fernsong a couple of scenes in the background to develop their relationship and foreshadow them starting a family. The Urans took quite a bit of care to introduce a mate for IvyPool to the fans, even though they could have just one day had IvyPool being a mom in the nursery. It's really cool to see the Urans continue to give a past protagonist as popular as IvyPool some character development here, and that's kind of why I love these two so much. In Vision of Shadows, after IvyPool and Fernsong have been seeing each other for a while, Fernsong asks IvyPool about having kids one day, and IvyPool states her discomfort at the idea of being stuck in the nursery all the time, to which Fernsong reassures her that he wouldn't mind being the one to take care of the kids after they no longer needed to nurse. IvyPool decides to think about it, and it's very sweet. This is something I've wanted to see in Warriors for a long time. A den dad! Yay! This feels like such a natural conversation for Warriors as well. I love seeing IvyPool hesitate to want to start a family, and that feels very in character for her. But we also get to know a lot about Fernsong from this scene as well, and I love that IvyPool has a mate that understands and respects her wishes and wants to do what he can to support her. Warriors has always had so many relationships built on poor communication, but just in these few background scenes, we not only get a nice, wholesome, and healthy communication, but some good development for IvyPool as she matures from her days in Omen of the Stars. And this was a great way to foreshadow Bristlefrost's character into the Broken Code, and let the audience guess at the family dynamic Bristlefrost has with her parents. In Lost Stars, there's even a scene where Bristlefrost is upset, and Fernsong comes to ask her what's wrong and tries to comfort her. This is a nice gesture regardless, but because we know that Fernsong was likely the one in charge of raising Bristlefrost and her siblings, it takes on even deeper meaning. I hope we see more supportive, nurturing Fernsong in the future. Give me at least a scene or two in Scrollflight's Hope, please! This is easily one of Warriors' best developed and healthy relationships, and it hasn't even been the main focus of any book. It just naturally progresses in the background. So, you might be surprised to hear that there's actually a bit of backlash for this couple in particular. I mean, relatively speaking. As far as I'm aware, the shipping drama in the Warriors fandom is pretty tame, but IvyFern seems to be put under a lot of heat compared to most any other ship I've seen in Warriors, especially for one that is presented so infrequently and written so well for Warrior standards. Now, if you've gotten to this point of the video, you can probably tell I'm pretty biased towards this couple. I think they're cute. I think the Urans took the appropriate amount of care to introduce a mate for IvyPool and keep her from feeling out of character. And I really love Fernsong. No joke, he might be one of my favorite background characters as of right now. He's just a sweetie. So, what's the problem? Why do people hate the ship so much? Let's go over some of the reasons I hear most often. IvyPool and Fernsong are related. There's even a prophecy talking about how they are related to each other. This couple supports incest. Okay. First of all, this is already a bit of a stretch. The prophecy, there will be 3, kin of your kin, who hold the power of the stars in their paws, refers to Jayfeather, Lionblaze, and Dovewing, not IvyPool and Fernsong. IvyPool is Dovewing's sister, and Fernsong is Lionblaze's son. Each of these cats are related to Firestar distantly, and by the time you actually work out the family tree, it turns out Fernsong and IvyPool are like third cousins once removed. Which is, sure, a little weird by our standards, but definitely far enough removed for warrior cat standards that it doesn't even warrant mentioning. These small fictional cat communities have been dealing with worse for a lot longer, and people only ever seem to call out this particular relationship instead of any others that have even closer genetic pools. Next point. There's a huge age gap between Ivypool and Fernsong. Well, no, there's really not, but even if you were correct, Ivypool and Fernsong didn't start dating until they were both warriors. Adults. Age gaps don't really matter to consenting adults. They can do what they want. If you think that age gaps between adults is wrong, sorry buddy, you don't get any sympathy from me. That's your own prejudice you're gonna have to tackle. But anyway, I know it might feel like Ivypool and Fernsong are really far apart in age, because we've known Ivypool since 2009, and Fernsong was really only introduced a few years ago. But in reality, Ivypool is only maybe a year and a half older than Fernsong. Ivypool was made an apprentice in The Fourth Apprentice, and gets her warrior name in Sign of the Moon. Omen of the Stars does not take place over a very long time. I doubt Ivypool was even a year old by the time Omen of the Stars ends. And then Fernsong is a kid in Bramblestar Storm, and there's a considerable leap forward in time before Vision of Shadow starts, where Fernsong is already a warrior. So there could easily not even be a year between them age-wise. And both of these arguments ignore the fact that these are cats we're talking about, but again, I'm trying my best to be fair and not be dismissive, even if I don't think these arguments hold much water. These arguments also ignore the root cause as to why incest and age gaps can be so harmful. Unbalanced power dynamics between minors and adults. This problem isn't an issue with Ivypool and Fernsong since they didn't start seeing each other until they were both warriors, and to try and make it about this belittles the actual abusiveness of those said relationships. It might seem like it legitimizes your stance, but in reality, it's just comparing an inoffensive ship to something actually toxic and harmful, which makes the toxic and harmful thing not look so bad, and I don't think that's what you want to do. And then we get to what I think is the real reason people are mad about IvyFern, and are using this other stuff as a cover-up to give them what they think is the moral high ground. They're mad Ivypool isn't a lesbian, or mad Ivypool had kits at all. And to this I say, this is a completely valid and totally acceptable reason to dislike this couple. No, really, you don't have to make up other reasons. It's understandable to be disappointed that your headcanons of a character or a ship didn't happen, and to be a little salty about it. What's really not okay is to try to imply that you know better than the authors, or to shame people who like what's canon in the books. And I totally agree that it would be awesome for Warriors to introduce more LGBT characters into the main story. I might not personally care for Ivypool and Blossomfall as a couple, but nothing has to stop you from shipping it despite canon. It's also valid to just not like the ship. I can't say I understand, because like I said before, I think IvyFern is just adorbs, but everyone is entitled to their opinion. I can respect that it just didn't click for you. Again, warrior shipping drama really isn't something that there's usually a lot of discourse about, and I'd like to keep it that way. I mostly wanted to use this video to try to tackle some of the misconceptions here and hopefully turn the conversation into something a bit more positive. Let me know what your favorite Warriors couple is, canon or not, below. Anyway, I really enjoyed working on this piece. Cats cuddling is just very soothing to the soul. I hope you all have a wonderful week, remember to be kind to each other, and please, stay inspired. This week, Wolf Whistle asked me, if you were given the chance to work on an animated adaptation of Warriors, would you? And the answer to that is hell yeah! That's not even a question, my friend. Water the Flower Bud asked, what E3 display games are you most excited about? Okay, first of all, definitely Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind DLC, because as soon as that drops, Sean and I can start working on it on his channel again, and I'm so excited! And the Final Fantasy VII Remake is looking like a lot of fun. And then, of course, the Breath of the Wild sequel. Ugh! Just thinking about it has gotten me to start replaying Breath of the Wild again for like the 1000th time. I'm pumped. but I also really liked what most of Nintendo showed. I'm a pretty heavy Nintendo fangirl. Link's Awakening is super cute. I might actually finally pick up a Fire Emblem on Switch. And yeah, there's a lot of maybe I'll pick this up at some point games. Thank you for the question, guys, and I hope you all have a fantastic week. Bye-bye!